Hi there, I'm Stuart from Marshall Music, and today's Stu Speaks With is an episode with an extraordinary bass player, an extraordinary gentleman, and he's very good looking too. His name is Denny Lallouette, and he's a lovely, lovely man. He's a good human being, and he can play a mean bass guitar. Denny, thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking time out to come chat to us.
Yeah, man.
Let's start off with tell us a little bit about your childhood, and how you got into music.
Okay, as you can tell by my accent, talk a bit funny. I was born in Mauritius. I grew up there, and I'm one of the last two of a family of 6, so my older brothers and sisters, when we were in Mauritius, they listened to the Beatles and the Shadows and things like that, and played guitar. So when I was 6 years old, I picked up the guitar and started learning the chords a little bit, and listened to music. I mean, nothing big. That was. And then when in high school we immigrated to South Africa in Durban. Okay. I went to school there in Durban and studied 6. I got there and I heard this noise, and so I thought there was cadet band. Yeah. And I got mesmerized by the drum thing. So I joined the band. I started playing snare drum. And I loved that, and snare drum was my thing. I even joined a Scottish band that was practicing across the road from where we were living. There was a park there, and I joined them. And Scottish drumming is quite serious, and this stuff you learn with them, and I did that, and I even won a competition when I was at school for drumming. Okay. And then I started playing drums. Okay. Now I started 7. A guy in the class says to me, "You're a drummer, right?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, we've got a band and we need a bass player." I said, "But I play drums." He says, "No, but if you play drums, you can play bass." I said, "Okay, I'll try." And my brother happened to have old Hofner Beetle bass. I said, "Okay, cool. I'll try." So I went there, and I realized from joining that band, the band was called 6 Foot Under, actually.
Okay.
It was a cover band up to just, a school band thing.
Yeah. They were probably terrible.
Yeah, well, it was fun. But that's where I realized, because I love rhythm, but I love melody and harmony as well. So that's where I realized, the bass, it's got the melodic thing, but the rhythm thing, and so closely related to drums. And I think that was a good thing for me to have that drum thing first, the grounding of that, because that, to be a bass player, it's like crucial to be close to the drum thing. As you know, it's like the rhythm section. So I started excuse me. Sure, you can
we won't edit that out.
And so I started, my brothers, they were listening to like Weather Report and Chick Corea and things like that, and I started listening to Anthony Jackson, all the guys, and started learning those things, learning note for note. And I wasn't really interested in school. I thought I'll do just enough so that I can pass.
To get by.
I can get by. And my father was a judge and very academic and things. I thought, I better just get through the schooling thing, which I did. But so I spent more time practicing, just do the homework quickly, and then practice, learn. So that's how I got going.
How many hours a day were you practicing in those days?
As many as possible. Yeah. At least, even during school time, maybe 3 hours or something. It's just I was passionate, and I didn't get lessons or anything like that. I never studied up till today, I never actually studied music. So I thought, okay, if I hear it, there must be a way of doing it, and if I find it, then if I can do it, that means I found whatever, you know. So I learned all those tricky stuff, Emerson, Lake and Palmer and things like that.
Yeah, cool
All
stuff.
interesting. I loved, you know, and it was a good learning curve. And then there's a guy who came from Johannesburg. His name was Des Coury. He met me somehow, and he asked me if I would play with him at Smuggler's Inn in Durban, the place where they have strippers and things like that by the harbour.
Yeah.
And we were playing for the cabaret, things like that. So I couldn't read or anything, so I got away with it. And then we moved to Johannesburg and played at the branch office, which was like a serious place in town, and playing chicoria type stuff eventually.
How old were you at this stage?
Then I've just finished school.
Okay.
Finished school 18. And at that place, we were there for about a year or something, playing serious stuff, and it was so nice, you know. It was all part of the learning thing. Then a guy called Izio Gross, a piano player, a Brazilian guy. He saw me playing there. We were just about to finish that run there. He said, "Look, would you like to join my band?" And then I said, okay, we play Latin stuff. I said, "Look, I love this thing, but I've never done it." He said, "Don't worry, I'll show you, you know." He talked even more funny than me. It was amazing, and for the next 3 years, I played with him. But the first week we played at the first week that I met him, we played at the Criterion restaurant in Benoni for the next few months.
Okay.
There was an amazing drummer, you know, Kendall Kay. He was here last week for the show. I spoke to him on the phone.
I met him last week. Yeah.
Okay. He was on the gig. After a week, he said, Izio called me and said to me, "Listen, I'm telling you all this because this is very important, that lesson I learned there." Izio called me to the side and said, "Listen, Kendall is going to leave the group." I said, "Why?" He says, "Because he can't play with you. Because you're too busy and you've got tendency to rush the beat, you know, type of thing." I said, okay. So I went home, put on metronome, very slow, and started doing scales and things, and think, okay, I do have a tendency to rush. So that's, I learned about the timing thing.
Yeah.
I never had that before. I never had that lesson in life, you know.
Yeah.
And I started realizing, okay, don't use the gig as a platform to practice. You practice at home. On the gig, you do what is tasteful and what applies to the music that's necessary.
Brilliant advice. Yeah.
Yes, you can be creative and colorful and things like that, but don't overdo it, don't say. So I learned an amazing lesson.
Yeah.
Okay. And then with that band, we went to, a new drummer came in. We went to Swaziland and played in the shows there. That's where I met my wife.
Okay.
She was a dancer in the thing, and that's where I met, and we got engaged, married the next year, and still married now 38 years later.
Brilliant.
And so after doing the runs like Swaziland, Botswana, this and that and the other, came to Johannesburg, and I thought, okay, Joburg is a place to be. That's where all the work is here.
Yeah.
So I started to do copying for the SABC. They called me, and I took the stuff home to
Transcribing.
copy. Transcribing.
Yeah.
You copy from the score onto the individual parts, and that's how I kind of made money apart from doing gigs and
that's how you learn to read or
no, and then I thought, okay, but maybe I want to do studio work as well. I thought I better learn to read a bit, you know. I asked somebody show me a bit about the thing, and I started practicing that. Before, so I didn't know about. I was just copying then.
Okay.
But then I learned to read, and I started practicing that. And then one day I bring the charts to the SABC. There was a musical director called Dave Polycat. He says to me, "You're a bass player, right?" I said, "Yes." He says the drummer who's supposed to play on this session, he's mixed up something in his diary, can't do it. Would you be able? I said, "Yes." I drove home, got my bass, and did my first session. But little did I know, I sit down, I put the sheet up, and start running the stuff. It was more country music, so it's not rocket science. So I look up and see in the drum booth, I see there's Kendall K. I go, oh. So we run the stuff, the first song, the thing, finished running the thing. I look up like that, and he looks at me, he goes, as if,
the best compliment,
okay,
yeah.
you've validated like that. Now I've worked on this stuff, and I learned from him from that thing, and now I'm okay, you know.
Brilliant.
So it was the most, like I say, validating thing.
Big weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, and then I started doing session like that.
And 2,000 albums odd later,
exactly.
And you're still going strong.
And
only 2,000 albums.
Yeah, soon. Yeah, no, it's been a lot, and you know what? And you never stop learning.
Yeah.
You never stop learning. Yeah.
Some standout sessions or gigs for you over the years? I mean, anything that's did in my early years, we did transcription albums at the SABC, and the musical director was an amazing bass player that used to play with Johnny Fourie and Henny Becker and all that at the Branch Office before we played there. And his name is Johnny Boshoff, the late Johnny Boshoff. He was a musical director, and the transcription albums then was totally free. It doesn't have to be commercial. We used to do weather report songs that he used to transcribe for. It was unbelievable to do that. But that was then, and funny enough that we should be doing this interview today. Yesterday and today, I just did the most amazing sessions. It's for a very well-known artist here called Yanni Dutoy. He's doing a new album. Yeah. And we played with Rob Watson on drums and Moritz on guitar, and it's going to be, and Susan Mouton, she was a kind of producer on that thing. Okay,
and
nice.
When they booked us, I thought, okay, Yanni's stuff, you know, and then they sent us the charts and the music to listen to. I thought, oh my word, it's like so precise and complicated, and yet I was so nervous about it, you know. And we did those sessions. It was unbelievable. I was so happy.
Awesome.
It was
awesome.
It came out so well. I was so
It's nice that you're still so passionate about what you do and caring about every single session that you do. And that's really
absolutely
a good big compliment for you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your current gear. And tell us, you're a Yamaha endorsee, have been for many years.
Yes.
And you're a Aguilar amplification endorsee too.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about.
Okay, the Yamaha thing started. Okay, when you mentioned about interesting things I've done, in 1999, I played with one of the best steel drum players in the world, maybe the universe. It's Andy Narell.
Yeah.
And ever since then, whenever he comes here, I play with him, which is like I'm very grateful for that. But it was the blues room, we played there, and that's when the Yamaha came to me and said, listen, we would like to endorse you, and I got my John Patitucci bass. That was, and I started with that.
Okay.
John Patitucci. After I got the John Mayung, which I still got those.
Yeah.
And currently, I use the amazing. It's a passive, very organic BB 2025X, which is it's an amazing bass because it's got a fat sound, and yet it's got definition, whether live on a gig or recordings and things. And now we come to the Aguilar. That's where this comes into it. Amplifiers normally have got a sound. You plug in, and then it doesn't matter what bass, different bass will have slightly, but then it's got that sound of that amplifier. Aguilar, what it does, it brings out what the instrument gives it.
What you're giving it.
What you're giving in, that's what it takes out.
So yeah, garbage in, garbage out. If you plug a bad bass into it, it won't sound good. Yeah.
And why I know that is a fact, I'm not just making that up. There's a very popular and good sound company called Sound GP with Christo Heiting. He does our sound with the band Blue Bamboo when we play at Cassies or gigs or anywhere.
He's arguably the best sound engineer.
Yes, he's. So now, when I first got my that Yamaha and the Aguilar, I say, okay, I had the Yamaha already. And then I said to him, listen, I'm going to try a new amplifier tonight. Just check it out quickly, you know. Let me know what it sounds like. So I played it, and in the break he says to me, man, it's amazing. He says, but some of the numbers that you play has got a vintage type of sound. I said, yes, because I use sometimes the middle pickup, which is a precision type of sound, or then both pickups more like a jazz bass type of sound, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, but I've been using it for the last 4 years, that vibe, you know.
Yeah.
He says, it's the first time I've heard this. He never heard the difference in sound.
Yeah.
There he could tell, that. So it said to me, it made, okay, that's what it is, you know.
So using the Aguilar Tone Hammer 500, yeah?
Yes, the tone, and what is the Tone Hammer 500? Very light thing, 500 watt. And with the 12, I've got two 12-inch
cabs,
all very light neodymium thing. Easy, you can. I often joke, like I said, look how strong I am. I pick the speaker up with my finger.
Nice, good. I mean,
okay, but now I've got what they very cleverly did. Aguilar, they made a DI box with the exact same preamp that's in the Tone Hammer 500. It's now the Tone Hammer DI box. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, they made that first, and then they made the Tone Hammer 500 out of that.
Correct.
It's the same preamp. So if I go to Cape Town, I say to them, I don't have to take my amp with, I take that. I say, I'll just use the monitors, I'll use that DI, it's my sound. I'll take with me where I go to recording session, live, the thing, is that either the amp or the thing is identical. It's so amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. It's good gear. Good gear.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit. Give the youngsters out there some tips for A, practicing, and B, just general tips on how to get a good sound out of their equipment.
Okay. The practicing thing. First of all, they must, to me. In terms of the reading and playing and all that, the way I look at it, if somebody comes to me for this and they want to learn, they say, yeah, I want to read as well and things like that. I'm not saying it's right or anything, my point of view is, I look at it like this. A baby is born and start hearing sounds and talking, I realize it's words, start understanding, and then they start talking and they have a conversation, then they can talk. When they're 5, 6 years old, because then they can see paper and say, it can be written, and you can read and you can write. You don't learn to read and write before you can talk. To me, it's more important to be able to talk, communicate, play, and then develop the reading from that. I know you can do both at the same time, which is fine, but I have played with people who learned reading and writing fully on first. That's all they do. And then you take the paper away, they can't jam. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to demean either of the things. But especially from a bass player, rhythm section point of view, I know if you're an orchestral player, it's very you have to play this thing in a section, everybody must read the same thing. Absolutely. If you're going to be a violin, it's probably a good idea to start reading immediately to learn that and go. But as a bass player, drummer, rhythm section, to me, you need to interact and jam with people. No, you know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about the reading and practicing. It's very important to get. It's like I get people, and yes, they don't want to do the exercises and anything. I say, okay, let's then learn whatever song or music you love. Let's go with that. And so we start learning that, and then comes to a bit more complicated one, and I say, okay, you are faltering because you need to now go back to, remember those exercises I told you about? Without having done that, you won't be able to do this. So let's practice a bit, and they realize, it does work, and then that makes them practice and think.
Okay.
So I don't like to force that on them first. They must. I give it to them, but if they don't do it, I say, okay, let's go there, and then they realize, I should do that. And also, I've learned a saying, not that long ago, but which applies absolutely. Don't practice it until you can do it. Practice until you can't get it wrong. Don't practice and go, oh yeah, I can do it now. Practice till you can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Then you got it.
That's good advice. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Denny.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us and
it's a pleasure.
Imparting your valuable knowledge.
Thank you, and thank you for you guys for your support, which is invaluable. Thank you.
Cool. No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Click on the links in the description below for Denny's Facebook page and for links to Yamaha's website and to Aguilar amplification. That's all for now. Cheers.